Hi again, everybody. I just wanted to show you quick how I make my name puzzles. So this is fairly easy. I'm using an old version of Illustrator. You can use any version of Illustrator, Inkscape, most design programs. You just need your type tools, some basic shapes, and your Pathfinder tools here. So first of all, I'm going to type in my name. So this is actually going to be for my new little cousin, Nicholas. I'm going to change my font. This is just the default Myriad. It would work, but it's not very interesting. You want something that's a bit thicker so that your final pieces have a bit of substance to them and they're sturdy. So one of the ones I really like to use is actually Marker Felt, which is a little bit of a cheesy font, but it works really well for these kind of kid projects, and they're nice thick letters. So that's what we've got there. I'm going to convert this to outlines, and I just want to actually adjust the size a bit. I don't want it too big, so I'm going to make it about 12 inches, just the letters. Okay, one of the things that I'm always kind of very conscious about is kerning, which is the spacing between the letters. And this is something that you should be adjusting anytime you have just a few words. So in any time you've got titles or signs, definitely these word puzzles, you want to adjust that because it's going to make the word flow better. So I've ungrouped all of these. And so for example, this O here, I want to even out the spacing between the H and the L a little bit. I also want to move that A over a bit, that S, maybe the N just a little bit. And you can see that it just looks better and better spaced than it did before when the spacing was a bit uneven. So that is all really that I need to do for the letters. I am going to just adjust this color so I can see it better. And sorry, I should say see the layers better. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my little circles for the finger, like to lift the pieces out. Because I do these as just two layers of material, the puzzle pieces actually go into the material and there's nothing to grab them with. So I could add like a little knob on top, or I could do double layers for the letters as well. But I like doing these little finger holes. And it's totally up to you if you want to include this or not. I'm going to make them yellow so that I can see where they are. And then they just kind of go on each of the letters. Now I'm doing every other letter because what I actually want to do is I want to change up where it goes on the other letters. So if you don't know what I'm doing when I'm doing this, I'm actually moving and copying at the same time. On Apple, it's using the Alt or Option key, and that will actually move it and make a new copy wherever you move it to. Except that's not the letter that I wanted that on. There we go. So that's a super easy way to do duplicate shapes like this. Okay, now I'm going to select my letters because I want my letters to be in the front. And the reason I want them in the front is that I want these circles not to be cut out of the letters. So when I select all of this, I can go to merge and it will have gotten rid of, you can see, that space in behind. So that's a super easy and quick way to make those little finger holes, because now what I can do is do my outlines for my cut shape, and ta-da! Now, one thing with this, it has actually created a double line here. So you can see, there you can see how the circle has the line there and the letter has the line there as well. So you want to get rid of one of those. I tend to get rid of the ones that are on my circle. So, and then I've got that extra node in here as well. Yes, Still have that extra node in there. Let me just ungroup those. That'll make it easier to see. Well, maybe I don't have that extra node in there anymore. Oh, no, I do. So you can see those little suckers in there. Okay, those just cause problems when you go to cut them. Okay, much better. So you do have to go into each of the letters here and get rid of all of that extra doodad. Sorry, this is the tedious part of this process. And it is faster just to select the nodes rather than the lines, which is always kind of, my instinct is always to select the lines, and it's not, it's the nodes in between that you actually want. So like here I could try to select both of those lines, but it's a lot easier just to select that node, and that'll get rid of those lines as well. These are just handles. They're not actually parts of, like they're parts of the shape, but they're not lines of the shape. Okay, we are getting there. Should have picked a shorter name. Okay, this one I have to select the line. Let's see if I can. Oh, I need to move this to the front. Then it will select that line. There we go. Still little bitty little node. Okay, where was I? In A. Node there. Ta-da! Okay, believe I did all of it. So now all that's left to do is draw a box around this whole kit and caboodle. I'm going to group it all because I'm going to want to center this. So I'm going to do a rounded corner, little box. I'm just going to kind of do a rough shape, and then I'm just going to align it all. There we go. So that is going to be my puzzle. Now, before I go and send this to print, one thing I do want to do is I want to make my backing piece. So I'm going to cut two pieces. This is going to be the top piece, so it's going to cut out the little finger holes. It's going to cut out all this, the letters, and this just looks odd to me here. Does this have? No, I think that's just the way my screen is. But I also want to do a backing piece that it's going to hold this all together. So I'm just going to duplicate this shape because I want it to be the same. And then what I like to do as well is I like to put like made by on the back of my little puzzles, especially when they're for gifts. Made by. And then that I have to make significantly smaller. So I can put this on the back here, and I'll engrave this on the back. Great outlines. There we go. So now I'm going to save this as an SVG. I'm going to run it through my Glowforge, and I will show you what it looks like and how it all kind of goes together once it's cut. Okay, I'm back with all my cut pieces here. So as you can see, I've cut out all my little bits here. I've started on this already just in the interest of time. I'm filling the backs of all my letters with scrapbook paper. So I'm just going to show you how I did that with these last two pieces. So what I'm going to do is just kind of add these little pieces. I'm just using some fine tip glue here. This is from Stampin' Up. You can get the same thing from a variety of different manufacturers, I believe. And I'm just going to literally lay this on top. I just want to make sure I've got my paper the right way up. And I'm just laying it over the holes. In some places, like here, you can see I've had to make sure that my paper layers properly, and I'm going to cut off some of this extra paper just so it doesn't add too much to the thickness of my puzzle. But you don't have to be super precise with this, as long as you can see what you want to see and don't see anything you don't want to see, because after all, this is going to be on the inside of the puzzle. Now this is actually the first time that I'm doing it with paper. Before I painted, and then I just painted the whole inside and didn't worry too much about the individual letters. So this is a little bit different from what I've done before, and that is okay. Trying new things, and if I fail miserably, I fail miserably. Alrighty, there we go. So now I'm going to glue this together. And I've actually lost, oh, and there's the Mod Podge I was looking for earlier. That's why I was using the needle tip, was because I couldn't find my Mod Podge, and I just found it. Ah, brilliant. But I still can't find the glue that I usually use, which is the Gorilla glue. It's on my desk somewhere, I'm sure. I can't find it right now, so I just wanted to show you. I'll clamp this together. Now I've already finished this top piece. I've finished, and it's just finished with mineral oil, so it's the same oil you would use on a cutting board, and I do that just kind of to keep it, you know, baby chew safe. And then these pieces I haven't unmasked yet. I'm just going to show you how I finish my puzzle pieces. So I take all the masking off. And this isn't proof grade material. This is the red oak from Home Depot, and I've just masked it with some of the 3M masking, or no, it's not 3M. It's the other stuff, the stuff that everybody links from Amazon. So there's that. You can see the difference between the finished and the unfinished oak. So that slides in there. Now for my letters that have spaces in them, so like my O and my A, it's up to you whether you want to include that middle piece. I won't for this one because I've lost the middle piece to my A. Normally I do put them in though. So that's a little oopsie on my part, is I kept the middle piece for the O but not for the A. And what I do when I want to keep that is I just pop the piece in, and then when I go glue that middle piece in, I have a template for that. So I'll put some glue on the back there, pop that in, and then I can actually take this out, or I can just leave it in when I clamp it. Just make sure that your glue's not running out of the smaller piece, because what'll happen is you'll stick in the piece you want. So it might actually be helpful to leave this in. But like I said, for this one, I'm not going to. I'm just going to put all my pieces in like that and leave those little peekaboos like that. So that is how that puzzle will go together. And you can see I've thrown out those little half circles, so those are going to peekaboo through as well with the paper in the background. So there you go. I still need to remove the masking, obviously, and I'm going to do a little bit of sanding and finish them with oil on the letters. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. I wasn't just going to finish them with oil. I was going to do my favorite baby wipe technique. So this is just a baby wipe. You can use any wipe. I recommend the cheap ones from Kirkland because they come in a case, and if you use baby wipes a lot, you probably have those already. And just a tiny little bit of acrylic paint. This is, I don't even know where I got this acrylic paint from. This I've had for years. I usually get my acrylic paint at the dollar store or Walmart though. You don't have to get fancy with this. And bonus points, acrylic paints are generally non-toxic, so the whole kid thing. Now I know that in some countries you have like super crazy rules. For us here in Canada, I think if you're like an artisan kind of hand making things, it's pretty chill. I mean, as long as you're not poisoning babies, we're not nearly as litigious here as we are in the US. So you can actually hand make things for kids here. And you can see that just gives it a little bit of a wash. You can see the difference there. You can always do more if you want more. So I would actually like this to be a little bit whiter. You can put it on there. If you dab like that, it does more of kind of a painting effect. Just play with it. This technique is super forgiving, and because it's water-based paint, you can actually wipe most of it off. If you totally hose it up, you can wipe most of it off. I like to go kind of with the grain, against the grain, get the paint in there fairly well, and then once you're happy with it, just set it aside to dry. Oh, and there's my dog is protesting that I'm not paying attention to her. So there's a difference between the unfinished, the painted, and the oiled. And I'll oil actually over top of this once it's dry as well. So you can see how that looks. All right, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I was a little bit slow in getting it all put together, but hopefully you learned something and make some awesome things. I'd love to see what you make. Post them wherever you can post them and share them with me. Have fun. Bye.